Okay, let's get this going. Mighty Companions, this is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live, A Course in Miracles. Let me adjust that just a little bit for you. So, I'm so glad to get a chance to talk some sanity and hear some sanity. It is my favorite thing to hear in this world. Because we're going to talk about we're going to continue and finish up with the section called Finding the Present. And that section is dealing with how do you let go of the past, how do you stop being trapped by your grievances and your thoughts of the past from A Course in Miracles. Are you tired of keeping on thinking about, focusing in on what's happened to you in the past, some grievance you have with somebody from the past, which simply means somebody didn't act out your script. That's all the grievance means, that somebody did not act out your script. And somebody needs to be different in order for you to be happy, is what the Course in Miracles says a grievance is. And nobody's on earth to act out your script. And nobody's on earth to act out my script. So if you want to be free of the past, if you want to let it go, we're going to talk about how to do that. And we're going to take about 30 seconds or so, let Brother John Christmas remind us of the absolute truth about ourselves for about 1 minute. And then we're going to continue in chapter 13, The Guiltless World, Finding the Present. And it's on page 252 in the text, 252 in the text, paragraph 8. Here we go. You're not a victim of the world you see. No matter what it looks like, you're not a victim of the world you see. You're not a victim of the world you see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. Even though it might look like it. I'm not a victim of my mom. I'm not a victim of my pop. I'm not a victim of events and circumstance at all. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I done to me. Looking for the section. I'm not a victim of the future, not a victim of the past, not a victim of anything that really doesn't last. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. Welcome to A Course in Miracles. A miracle is a right answer. 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 The Course in Miracles teaches that if we let ourselves have the answer, it's a miracle. So we're talking about A Course in Right Answers. And we're going to let ourselves hear how we can apply it to our everyday life. That's what we want to do. I'm not a victim of the North. I'm not a victim of the South. Not a victim of anything except what comes out my mouth. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. What's happening is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. So take a breath. victim of the world I see. I'm a victim of the world I see. What's happening now is what I done to me. In 43 years of teaching the course, I don't think there's hardly anything that people have disliked more than the idea that what is happening to them is what there's nothing harder to hear than what you're going through and what you're feeling right now is something that you are creating. When things are happening and going the way that I like for them to go, I love to focus on the idea that somehow I created it and somehow I did it. But when things are going crappy and down the drain and it's not going the way I want it to go, there's a temptation in those situations to say, it's your fault. If you all were different, I'd be happy. You know that? If you all would just get your acts together and be more loving and be more kind and be more forgiving, then I'll be happy. If things aren't working in Denver, if I go to LA, things will be better. If I change the outer circumstance, if I change the outer situation, then I would feel like the situation was going to change. And so the Course is saying in that section that we're going to be on 252, on page 252, I can always tell when I'm getting ready to hit something that's really deep, because that's when I have a ton of technical difficulties that come up, even though everything's been working fine. And that's been happening a lot lately. So I know that I must be saying something at some level that's a threat to my ego being. It's so consistent. So the Course in Miracles says to me, well, if you want to learn me, if you really want to change your mind, there's some certain things that you need to keep in mind if you want to really change your mind. And then it tells me that there are certain things that I need to tell myself if I really want to hear this. This class, I'm glad everybody's here and I'm glad everybody's watching online, but my class are especially for people who are studying A Course in Miracles and want to get a clearer acceptance and understanding of what the Course in Miracles says. So those of you who are watching and are able to have access to your book, then I would love for you to follow along as best you can, because I'm going to also give you tips about how the Course in Miracles reads, so that you'll be able to get the blessings and the benefits that the Course in Miracles gives. So if something goes wrong and it looks like, those of you out there, if you can hear me okay, send me some heart emojis. Send me some heart emojis to make sure that you can hear me okay, because sometimes there's lately been some type of difficulty in that. So if you can hear me, send me a few heart emojis and I'll know you can. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Those of you who are here, the Course in Miracles is only talking about how you can have love and how you can get rid of the fear. So it tells us that now, if you want to really get this, you need to understand that you don't have to believe what the Course is saying, and you don't have to accept what the Course in Miracles is saying. That you don't even have to welcome what the Course in Miracles is saying. Would you mind turning that light on behind you on the wall? Yeah, and let's see if it dialed it all the way up, and if it starts the flickering thing, which it probably will.
This one right here?
Then I'll turn it off and see if it starts to flicker. Okay. Okay.
How's that?
That's not bad.
A little bit more?
A little bit more. Let's see. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So the Course in Miracles uses Christian terminology, but it's talking about universal spiritual themes. So it tells us that you may resist some of the ideas you're going to find hard to believe, and some of the ideas might startle you. Some of it you might find it hard to believe. Some of it might startle you. Then it goes, You're not asked to judge, and you're not asked to analyze the ideas at all. That one of the things after 40 years of sharing with people is that it's the use of the ideas that will give the ideas meaning and will show you that the ideas are true. I'll say it again. You can listen to any number of teachers. You can go to 1 million workshops. You can watch 1 million videos, and they can support you in your change of mind, but they will not take the place of you giving the truth your own individual attention and study. That's what the Course, I'm just quoting what the Course says. So if you think you're going to master the piece that the Course in Miracles is talking about just by listening to someone speak, it probably isn't going to happen. But what my speaking can do is support what you're trying to do. Does that make sense to everybody? Because I've done this so long, and I've had a chance to observe so many people, as well as my own ego. And we're not as different as we think we are. As a matter of fact, we're not really different at all. We just all do the same things at different times. That's all we do. The exact same things. We just do it at different times. It's like it's all cake. Some of us like banana, some of us like chocolate, some of us like coconut. But there's a cake that's called the cake of thinking that we're separate. And everybody is doing that in their own way. But the Course is saying what's really making you unhappy about that situation that you're dealing with right now, that you may be thinking about right now, is that you are staying in the past, that you're keeping what happened in the past in your mind, and you're interpreting right now in terms of what happened in the past. It's not any more difficult than that. If I'm upset because of what happened with my mate this morning right now, it's because I'm using right now to remember what happened, and I'm making myself mad right now, even though we're no longer arguing or going through that situation. So there's no justification for hanging on to something that's causing you unhappiness simply because when you do that, it's making you unhappy now. And everybody, most people, when I share this, they always agree, but then they can turn right around 5 minutes later and they're mad at somebody like they were before. It's so funny. It's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Happiness comes from within. And I'm upset because he didn't remember my birthday. Okay, well then you don't think your happiness comes from within. You think your happiness comes from the person remembering your birthday and giving you a birthday card. So you just told a lie. You don't really believe your happiness comes from within because you got some kind of demand or script. So I try to remember that when people are upset with me or when I'm upset with people, is that they're just bringing up something that probably has nothing to do with anything that's happening right now in this moment. Because in this moment right now, we're all sitting up here in total peace. It's not like we're in Ukraine and somebody's dropping bombs on us. So if you got enough time to sit around and analyze and debate ideas that could help you, I would venture to say you really don't have any problems. Because if you really thought, the Course says if you really reached your limit, then you're going to want to do it differently, and you're going to do it differently. If you haven't reached your limit, then you want continued explanations, he says, and a person just continues to ask endless questions, but they don't ever get any meaningful answers out of what you're talking about. As a teacher, I've seen it so many times, that you answer one question, they go, yes, but, then they ask you another question. You answer, they go, yes, but. Well, see, really, the Course says that part of the person is not capable of receiving a meaningful answer. So you can keep on wasting your time, or you can give them an opportunity to listen so that Spirit can give you the way out of the problem that you're in. So when I look at anything in the Course, I'm always asking myself, how can I apply that to something that's happening in my life right now? I'm not interested in philosophical, abstract discussions in the Course of Miracles anymore. I'm really interested in what am I being told to do, which he says is the same as saying, what am I being told to think? I said again, when the Course is talking about what you should do, it's talking about what you should think, the way you should look at it. So let's look at paragraph 8, where it starts out. It says, now is the time, do you know that, and I'm teaching the question and answer format because questions hook the mind. Statements put the mind asleep. Questions hook the mind. So what time is it? Well, he says, well, now is the time of salvation. And then a person might ask, well, what is salvation? He says, well, for now is the release from time. So how do I get released from time? So I'm going to give you definitions as we go of what the Course in Miracles says. Time is, he says, it's a state of beginning and ending. That anything that's in time is something that begins and ends. Do y'all see that? You can't, I defy anybody in here to name anything that they see that's not going to have an ending. So the Course says you're in time. but you are really a spiritual being having a human experience. But right now, you're in time, and you want to get out of time. You want to get out of a situation where you are able to begin and end. In other words, you want to get out of a situation that you could die. I think you want to do that. So then the Course says, well, what do you do? He says, well, what I want you to do is reach out to your brothers and touch them with the touch of Christ. Now, what does that mean? I want you to reach out to the people around you. The Course says your brothers are your equals. And then it says, I want you to touch them with the touch of Christ, which is the touch of love, which is the touch of your real self. So if you're in a situation with somebody around you right now, you want to touch them with the love that comes from your real self, not the fear and anger and grievances that come from your unreal self. When you hear people say stuff like, you're not for real, in most cases they're telling the truth, that you're not for real. Anybody that's expecting everybody to change to be the way that they want them to be, anybody that's dealing with everybody around them in terms of their grievances from the past is an unreal person. They're not dealing with what's real. Would you also agree that something that you were really interested in would excite you? Okay. Check out your excitement about hearing this.
Mm-hmm. I'm taking notes.
Okay. And I'm just saying that, I'm saying because what I'm doing right now with my classes, I'm ready to go so much deeper and simpler that people who want to lightly, superficially touch in on the truth in the Course, they're not going to watch me very long. And that's okay. Because I want sincere, serious Course students like you, hopefully. And like there are thousands of people that watch. It's so funny because the videos get thousands of views every month, even though there are small groups that show up live. And that's the way things went during the pandemic. Everything went to a larger way of doing things. And sometimes it's more fun doing it by yourself because then you're not looking at bored faces. Right, really, it really is. It's like, and that only applies to anybody that applies to. Okay, but it's really funny. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm excited about the Course in Miracles, but I know when you first get into it, it's kind of disorienting and confusing. So it's hard to be excited about something that's not clear. So I end up in most cases being more excited than the people who are watching me. Because to them, it's something they're trying to get to the point they can see the value of. Does that make sense? So so I always think about one of the old metaphysical truth laws, which is enthusiasm creates. See, most people think they're going to be enthusiastic after they get what they want. They don't realize that the enthusiasm at the beginning for what you want creates it. That's why if you notice, if you want to take a trip somewhere, you get really excited if it's somewhere that you think you want to go. Well, it's that excitement that's generating you getting the tickets, packing, having the energy to get in the car, to go. All that's coming from your enthusiasm. So if you think you're going to do the thing that's necessary to change your mind to the point that you are totally happy, but you don't have enthusiasm for the truth, then you're making your own spiritual journey hard. And then we look for somebody to get us to do it. Right, so my job then becomes to motivate everybody to do it. And that is exactly what a teacher is supposed to do, is be a good motivator. But really the best motivator is suffering. Mm-hmm. If you really want a motivator, that's usually the one that'll do it every time. So when I look at it, he says, now is the time of salvation. Then he goes, now is the release from time. Reach out to your brothers. Do what? Touch them with the touch of Christ. The Course is always talking about love. So if it says Christ, it's saying, I need to reach out to you, and I need to touch you with the touch of love, because what? He says, in timeless union with you is my continuity unbroken because it's shared. So what I want to recognize is you and I have a timeless union with each other that will never end. We're stuck with each other. We'll always be in each other's experience, whether in this life or another life. We'll always be in timeless union with each other. So I'm stuck with you, and you're stuck with me. So either we're going to make it something that we enjoy, or it's going to be hell. The Course says there aren't any other choices but love and fear. He says either you're going to be giving yourself hell every day, or you're going to be giving yourself heaven, which is love. That's okay. Then he said, well, what do I need to do? He says, well, you need to reach out to your equals, because it says your brothers are your equals. That when it says brother, it's not talking about a man, it's not talking about a male, it's talking about we're equals. And then the chorus says, God's given son is only light, okay? Love's innocent child is only light. There is only innocence in you. There's only truth in you. I don't care what anybody else tell you. I don't care what anybody else thinks about you. I don't care what anybody else says about you. The truth is, you are only love. You are only light. That's what you are. You are love. That's what you are. You are light. That's what you are. You are good. That's what you are. You are good. You are light. You are love. That's what you are. That's what you are. Now, does everybody think that about themselves? But does that change the truth? That's what to me, that's what makes the truth easy for me now than it used to be. It doesn't matter what Earl thinks about himself. I could criticize and judge myself all day long about what I could have done differently and what I've done wrong and it still won't change the fact that I'm still spirit and I'm still love and I'm still loved. There's nothing I can do. I don't care how much dirt I have on my body, I can wash it off. My body's still under there. So I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what you think you are. It doesn't matter what you think you've done. It doesn't matter how angry or how shameful you feel about anything you've done in your past. You're still innocent. You're still loved. You're still loved. You're just used to human love. And human love is fake love. 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 If you depend on human love, you will surely be disappointed. You will surely be disappointed, because human love is a conditional love. It's a conditional love based on you doing what other people want you to do and being the way other people want you to be before they'll give you their so-called love. Are we clear about that? Okay? Conditional love is not love. Conditional love is not love. Don't you dare say you love me and you got a ton of conditions on me, and I say I love you and I got a ton of conditions about what you should do. That is not love. And he's saying you are loved, though. I am loved. So what is the next good news? He says, notice it says God's guiltless son. So what does that mean? You're innocent, right? Then it says there's no darkness in you anywhere. So who you really are, there is no fear in you anywhere. Who you really are is not upset about what time somebody showed up for dinner. Who you really are would never get upset if you walked in tomorrow and your mate was in bed with somebody else. Who you really are, no matter what's going on, if you were told that you have the worst disease on earth, who you really are is unaffected by that 100%. What you really are doesn't get caught up in any of the stuff that humans get caught up in every day in the world. So the Course is saying to us, you all absolutely have forgotten who you really are. And you form relationships with people who keep helping you forget who you really are. He says that's why people get into special relationships, not to remember who they are, but to forget who they are. And they're looking for the relationship to make up for the lack of love they have for themselves. They're looking for the other person to give them so that they'll feel valuable. And when you find out the person cannot hide how you really feel about yourself, even after you get with them, you still feel crappy sometimes and think he said, then you get disillusioned, and then you break off the relationship, and then you look for somebody else who's going to hide how crappy you think about yourself from yourself. I go, ooh, God dog. Okay? So I'm going out tonight looking for the person who will help me forget how I look at myself. Okay, so the Course says, well, let me get it straight. I want you to know that you're only light, that's love, that there's no darkness in the other person anywhere, because the person is whole. So call all your brothers to witness to their wholeness as I'm calling to you. So I'm calling you to witness to your oneness and your love with everybody. I'm calling you to start wanting to witness to oneness and to love. I want to meet people who want to witness to oneness and to love. I want to join with people who want to let go of the fear and the anger and the separation. The world, which is my own projected mind. The Course in Miracles says, you all don't know it, but when you look at the world, you're looking at your own thoughts. You're looking at your own mind. The world is your own mind projected outward. You are a spiritual being who creates through your thoughts. You're more than a body. You're an unlimited spiritual being. You're projecting your own thoughts and programmings, and you're looking at it, and you're calling it up what other people are doing. But it's not what other people are doing or thinking that you're looking at. You're always looking at your own thoughts about it. You're always looking at, you're not looking at your husband, you're looking at your thoughts about your husband, your child, your job. And so the Course is saying, but you are light, you are truth, you are innocent. And we don't hear that enough. And I want to say that to you again, that who you really are is beautiful, who you really are is innocent, who you really are is giving, who you really are is loving. But you are hung up, he says, but what you're doing is you're hung up on your false self, your phony self. And then you go, who is my false self and phony self? It says, well, there's two words for that. Self-concept. Do you know that? You are thinking that you are your self-concept. He says, you're thinking that you are who you think you are. That you're thinking that you are what you think you are. And he says, that's a self-concept. That's not really you. And then he says, I'll prove, the Spirit says, I'll prove it to you. You go, okay, prove it to me, Spirit. He says, do you think you're the same person that you were 10 years ago? No. But then all that means is you don't have the concept of yourself that you had 10 years ago. So do you have a concept of yourself now? Well, it's just as unreal. And 10 years from now, you'll be saying this you isn't real. So none of your concepts of yourself are you. So stop, the Course is saying, so stop making them such a big deal. It doesn't make any difference whether you think you're innocent or you think you're guilty, other than the way you're going to see your life. But it doesn't change you being innocent. So I don't know about you, but I was born into a family in the South that went to church, and they taught me that I was born in sin, and that the Son of God died because of me. Now, if that's not the ultimate guilt trip to put on somebody as soon as they're born, I don't know what is. You're going to tell me as a little child, I'm sitting up there like a sponge absorbing anything you tell me, and the first thing you tell me is that I'm a sinner. And then you tell me that my Creator wants to punish me. And then you tell me that the Creator's child died because of me. And I'm supposed to be going, yippee! Right? So what happened? I come here, I get a false belief about myself at a very young age that's telling me I am not light, that I am flawed, that I am bad. It's as a child. Then you realize your thoughts create your perception. Your thoughts create your perception. Your thoughts create your reality. Your thoughts create your reality. So I got a core belief in separation from God. I got a core belief in my guilt. And then I'm wondering why I attract things to me that make me unhappy. And even as a child. Well, if you give a child a core belief that they are not innocent, that they are flawed, that they are guilty, then they are going to recreate that in their experience. I beg those who do not have enthusiasm about hearing the truth to don't create a reality where you have to suffer so that you begin to do it differently. I was talking to somebody last week, and they were wanting to get another perception of my idea that when I was sharing from the Course and was saying that there's no need for you to suffer. And they took affront to that to a certain degree. What do you mean? I think suffering, you suffer, and then you learn really good, valuable lessons and all that. I said, fine. If you want to believe that you need to suffer to grow, great. I don't. I don't have to put my hand on a hot stove to know not to put my hand on the hot stove. I could just see your hand got burned, realize we're the same, so if I put my hand on, so don't you tell yourself 1 second that you need to suffer in order for you to gain or for you to grow. The Course says you need to stop seeing there's any purpose in you suffering for anything. And then people go, well, wait a minute, I'm suffering, so what do? I said, well, once you do suffer, he says, well, then love and spirit will help you get out of the suffering. So don't get me wrong. God is with you through the challenge that you're going through. The Creator is with you in the challenge that you're going through. And the Creator is like the GPS. You make a wrong turn, it redirects you from where you are. It doesn't tell you to go back to the point you made the wrong turn, usually. Right? It takes you right where you are, and then it'll take you to where you want to go from where you are, even if you made the mistake. But the Course of Miracles says that's the way love works. That's the way the Creator works. You don't have to suffer, but your butt's not listening, so that's going to result in you suffering, and then I'll help you out of the suffering that you're going through. But don't you tell yourself you need to suffer in order to grow, because if you tell yourself you need to suffer in order to grow, you will create suffering for yourself, and you'll be wondering where it came from. So one of the things I want to ask you to take out of today's talk is, your suffering has no purpose. Your suffering has no purpose. Lack has no purpose. A relationship that's full of unhappiness has no purpose. Your suffering in any way has no purpose. Now, you would think, wouldn't you, that idea would be an idea that people would be like, right on. But if you're suffering all the time, you don't want to believe you're doing that for nothing. So if somebody tell you you don't have to suffer and all you do is suffer, and then you'll find usually a person doesn't get excited about that. So I'm going to bust your bubble and say, you are loved and you are loved, and you don't deserve to suffer. You don't deserve to have lack. You don't deserve to have relationships that are not supported. You don't deserve to have to worry about how you're going to make your bills every month, or whether you're going to remember who you are every month. You deserve someone in your life that appreciates you and that recognizes you. You deserve to not be attacked, and you don't have to suffer to grow and to be happy. Why do I need someone to say that to me? Because ideas create my experience, and so an idea needs to be introduced into my mind so that I can start repeating that idea. And he says, when you repeat an idea, you get to the point you'll accept it. That acceptance of a new truth comes from repetition, not understanding. Not understanding. So that's why I don't do classes that we're sitting around debating ideas and asking a lot of questions right now, because I found that with the Course in Miracles, in most cases, people haven't read it. And so therefore, the things that I covered from the book in the class, for most people, it's the first time they've ever heard it. So I want to hear the Course. I don't want you to be hearing what I think, and I don't want to hear what you think. I want to hear what the Course is saying. I want to hear what my curriculum is telling me to do. You follow me? I want to bake this cake. I want to read the recipe book. I don't want to debate who wrote the recipe book. So the Course says what you have to do is, if you want something, first you have to go, this is what I want, why do I want it? He says the first thing you do is ask yourself, whenever you want anything, what's the purpose of it? What do you want it for? I don't care what it is that you want right now. Go, what is the purpose of it? What do I want this for? He says, and then the next thing you do is you recognize that in order to have that, whatever situation that you're in is the situation that you're supposed to practice what it would take for you to have that. So if I say I want peace with you all, and we're in this situation, then this is an opportunity for me to achieve that goal of having peace with you all. And then he says, well, how would you do that? He says, well, the way that you would do it is you would overlook whatever would keep you from having peace in that situation, and you would concentrate on whatever would give you peace. So my goal is to have peace with you all. So I'm going to concentrate. So would that mean, would I cuss you out? Would I attack you? Would I rob you? Would I hurt you? Would I judge you? No, because I would, but could I have those thoughts? Of course I could have those thoughts. Of course I could have thoughts sitting up here that would tell me why I couldn't love you or why I shouldn't have peace with you. He says, you overlook those. And he says, then you concentrate on what's going to help you reach your goal. So what would help me reach my goal is to have peace with you, not to attack you, focus on the Course with you, us having some joy with each other. See, I'm concentrating on what helps me reach the goal, and he says I'm overlooking what keeps me from reaching the goal. So if I want to, if I have a grievance against Jason, but now I've decided I want to have peace with Jason, wouldn't I then start trying to overlook what I think I'm upset with Jason about? I said that's because that's not going to help me like him. That's not going to help me have peace with him. So I'm going to overlook that, and then I'm going to concentrate on what would allow me to have peace with Jason. So what would allow me to have peace with Jason? Not attacking Jason, appreciating Jason, thinking about the lunches that I've had with Jason. You know what I'm saying? He says that's what you do with everything. If you want to achieve your goal, you have to use any situation you're in as an opportunity to achieve that goal. And you have to concentrate on what's going to help you achieve the goal and start overlooking all the stuff that's going to keep you from doing it. And I'm the repetition teacher. I could care less about introducing a lot of ideas to be forgotten. Because the Course says all you need is one. It says it in the workbook. If you all were to take one of these truths and use them consistently, it would lead you to all truth. Just one of them. Just one of them. So suppose I don't like Jason. Suppose I want to be separate from Jason. I'm still going to use the same principles. That's my goal. I don't want to heal with Jason. I think he doesn't even deserve it. Okay? So that's my goal. That's what I want to come out of it. Separation from Jason. Okay? So what am I going to do? I'm going to overlook every loving, peaceful thing that Jason has ever done for me. Because he said, first you overlook what interferes with your objective. I'm going to still be mad at him. I'm going to overlook everything that Jason came when I was at the hospital and sit by the bed and help me go to the toilet. I said, I'm going to forget that. And all I'm going to concentrate on is the thing I'm upset with Jason about now. So I'm going to concentrate on everything that makes me not like Jason. And I'm going to overlook everything that Jason did every time I'm with him in order for me to stay separate from Jason. So when you want to stay separate from somebody, you're still using the same principles. And I know some of you out there are really on the edge of your seat about what I'm saying because you know you're in a relationship right now and there's somebody you really need to forgive and you want to let go of it. I know that. I trust that. So those are going, okay, do you have any people in your life right now that you don't like? Then this is totally appropriate. Watch pseudo-spirituality, because pseudo-spirituality will tell you you're more spiritual and kind and loving than you actually are. You really think you're a nice person. And of course, the miracle says, oh, everybody's got that nice face. Everybody's got that, he calls it the face of innocence. He says, oh yeah, everybody got that face they make up that loves everybody and thinks it's kind to everybody. It would never hurt a fly. He says everybody makes up a face like that. He says, but what the real deal is underneath that really nice face that he says everybody's putting on is a really pissed off person, a really angry person, a person that really thinks they didn't get what they deserved. And he says that part of them is being projected out into the world, and then they meet people who look like they don't treat them well. But the people who don't treat you well, he said they are projections of your own thought about yourself coming to you through what you perceive as your outside world. So if you want to get rid of the bad boyfriend, the bad girlfriend, the wife that won't work, the boss that doesn't, he says, well then what you got to do is let go of that anger that you have, that you're in denial about. How do you do that? He says, well, I'll tell you how to do it. The first thing that you do is you need to recognize that I'm calling you to join me. Right? And it's funny because I'm calling you to join me. I could just as much say that from the standpoint of Earl as I could from the Course saying that from the standpoint of Jesus or the Course. I am right here on here calling people to join me in the idea of let's focus in on we are light and we are love. I know we don't feel that way all the time. I know you don't feel that way all the time. But I'm calling on those who would like to have sanity and peace and love to join with me in that goal. That's my criteria for a partner. I wouldn't, in a million years, I wouldn't want us to get in a special love relationship with someone who did not want to use our relationship for love and to let go of the blocks that we have with each other. That's friendship or a romantic relationship. Because the Course says a person isn't valuable, any more valuable to you than they help you achieve love and peace in your life. That anybody that's not helping you achieve love and peace in your life, that is not a relationship that has any value. And so if you're in relationships and all you do in those relationships is argue, fuss, and fight, and criticize and judge, you're in the most valueless relationship from a Course in Miracles perspective that you could ever be in. It has no value. Then I go, well, why should I say it has no value? He says, well, because it's when you recognize it has no value, you'll let it go or change it. Have you ever had somebody tell you they love you and they mistreated you? It's kind of confusing, isn't it? It's like on the one hand you're saying you love me, but on the other hand you're totally mistreating me. So then it makes you have this ambiguity about leaving. Well, he did. Well, he might have had his hand around my throat, but he did say he loved me. So then you know what I'm saying? So because if you don't know the difference between love and fear, you'll let yourself be abused. So I need to know what somebody who loves me would do and what someone who doesn't love. Well, he's already told me. Somebody that loves you is going to see you as innocent, and they're going to see you as love. There won't be any darkness in them. And if it is some, then we need to call to each other to witness to each other's wholeness. Each voice has a part in the song of redemption, which is the song of love in him, in the hymn of gladness and thanksgiving for the light to the creator of the light. The holy light that shines forth from God's child is the witness that his light is from his Father. So what does that mean? It means you need to shine on people. You need to let the light and the love and the joy in you be what people see, because the Course teaches that someone being happy in your presence is someone telling you that you are not hurting me and that you're not guilty. Because how could I be blaming you for anything if I'm happy? So a happy person is a person that in your presence is a person that has forgiven you. When someone has forgiven you, they are happy. They have peace in your presence, and they have peace when they're not in your presence. So anybody that tells you that they've forgiven you and they're still treating you separately, they haven't forgiven you yet. But it doesn't matter, because nothing they're telling themselves about you is true. What you think of me is none of my business. What you think of me is, and see, it's but social media with the ego, it's making everybody think their opinions matter, right? That's why so many teenagers are still suicidal right now, because they bought into the perception that their value is based on what other people think of them. So they're basically saying what the Course said earlier: my happiness depends on something outside of myself. But I do that in my relationships too. So what am I going to do? Well, how can I make this practical? He said, well, the way that you make this practical is to shine on that person in remembrance of love, for you will remember love as you call the witnesses to love, creation. Those whom you heal bear witness to your healing. For in their wholeness you will see your wholeness. And as your hymns of praise and gladness rise to love, love will return your thanks in its clear answer to your call. It can never be that God's child called upon God and remain unanswered. There's no way you call on someone who loves you and you remain unanswered. There's no way somebody that loves you is not going to hear your calls for love and your calls for help. Love, God is just another word for love. If you want to change the Course in Miracles to one of the simplest books you've ever read, just understand that it's only talking about love and it's only talking about fear. So you can take all that Christian terminology and you can just use love and fear, and you'll see that this book is doing only one thing. It's telling us, it's teaching us the difference between what love looks like and how somebody that loves you is going to look at you and treat you, and how somebody that doesn't love you and doesn't know what love is going to treat you. He says so that you can choose for love. You can start choosing for love. You'll get to the point that you can talk to a person 5 minutes and you'll know whether you should get more deeply involved with that person. Because you'll know that if they're still projecting on the past partner or past friend, if they're still focusing on the grievances about what everybody has done to them in the past, if they're talking about all their grievances, you know that if you get in an intimate relationship with that person, they're going to do the same thing to you just as soon as you don't act out their script. Your specialness will tell you you're different. Your specialness will say they talked about their other person, but they wouldn't do you like that. That is not true. They will do the exact same thing to you because it ain't personal. The same way they're being with you is the way they can be with the person they was with last and the person before that. It's not personal. That'll even take them to the same restaurants. Really. I realized I was taking things personal, but really what that person was doing with me is the way that they would do anybody that they were in specialness with. But my specialist said they wouldn't do that to me. Which is, the truth is, and here's the kicker, I know my ego is the same way. See, my ego is just like everybody else's ego. I was talking to somebody the other day and said, because I teach the Course in Miracles, did you know because I teach the Course in Miracles, Earl is not permitted to get angry. Earl is not permitted to make mistakes. You know, I get more crucified faster than anybody. People expect me to be perfect because I'm teaching it. And they don't realize I'm teaching it so that I can learn it. I'm teaching it so I can learn. So give me a break. Give me a friggin' break. I am not perfect either. I'm going to make mistakes too. So if I love you, I'm going to realize that. And when you do, I'm going to focus on my goal, which is what? I want to have peace with Jason so that if something comes up between me and him, the same rules apply. I go, okay, the truth is I want to have peace with Jason. I've gotten upset with Jason right now. Let me get clear. What do I want to come out of this relationship? I want me and Jason to have peace with each other. Okay, what do you need to do? I need to overlook what I'm telling myself right now that's making me mad at him. I need to focus on the things that he has done, the things that I can focus on that I appreciate about him. When should you do that, Earl? In every situation you think about Jason or every situation that you're with Jason. And if you do that, you're going to find that you are going to experience peace with him. Your outcome with him is going to be peace. And so you hear me saying it about for the fourth or fifth time. You know why? Because the Course has already told me. It's through repetition that I'll accept that. Because the average person isn't going to tell me that. The average person is going to tell me why I should keep the grievance going with Jason. And I need to make sure I don't ever forget it so it won't happen again. And the truth is, the only reason why it happened was because at some level I asked for it. So I need to find out why it was I chose to experience that. And I need to learn how to change my mind so that I am not taking my peace away because of what Jason does. So my concentration is not on getting Jason to do what I want Jason to do. My concentration is on keeping my peace of mind and not attacking myself no matter what Jason does. I'll say that to you all again. Your part, when it says you're not a victim of a situation, it's telling you that you want to remember that that person in front of you, their real self, is a self of light and love and innocence. You are seeing their false self. You're seeing what they're doing coming from misperceptions of who they really are. It's coming from their own guilt and their own anger and their own separation. That's what you're seeing. And what you're seeing is a person who is calling for love and truth because they've temporarily forgotten who they really are. You don't have to give them a lecture. You don't have to give them a lecture. You don't have to try to fix them. What you must do in that moment is remember who they are for them. If at all possible, you want to shut up, be quiet, tell yourself what your workbook lesson is for that day, whatever that thought is from the Course in Miracles that you're being told that day. He says in the workbook, you're supposed to say, this thought I do not want, I choose instead this one. So so I'm getting ready to come up with what Jason has done to upset me. I'm supposed to tell myself, I don't want this thought. I'm going to choose the thought that Jason is calling for love, or that Jason is a child of God, or I need to not attack. He says, every time you have a thought that is taking you away from your goal, you need to choose to replace it with a thought that I'm telling you to think from the book. And the Course also says that Earl, he told me, he said, man, when you really get sincere about teaching this at a deeper level, he said that you just be prepared to have many people that you're accustomed being around you leave. So you're going to have to trust me during that period where it might look like all your students have abandoned you. Because that happens sometimes when you transform and you get deeper into stuff that people have to get involved with themselves. So he says what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to go to sleep. He said you just want to get clear that you might be talking to somebody and they fall asleep while you're talking to them. It doesn't mean you're a dull conversation. It doesn't mean you told them something they're not ready to hear yet, or they think they already know so much that they don't think they need to hear it anymore. So I tell you, go toward the truth, go toward the teacher, go toward the thing that excites you, that you get enthusiasm about, who turns you on to listen to, who turns you on to be in the presence of. Please do yourself that favor. Don't focus in on teachers that don't excite you, that don't move you, because that's not who you're supposed to be listening to right now. And I might be saying something that, like I said, results in me having less people, right? But I'm just following what he's saying. When you are being guided by spirit, the way you can tell, he says, is you feel inspired. So do I inspire you? Is what's coming through me inspiring you? Is the thing you're thinking about doing next, is it inspiring you? Whatever changes you're getting ready to make in your life, is it inspiring you? Or are you just feeling it's something you should do, ought to do, or got to do? Get rid of the shouldas, oughtas, gotters as fast as you possibly. Don't come here because you should do it. Don't pick up the course because you ought to do it. Don't be around people because you ought to do it. Be around people that you want to be around to turn you on. When you are around them at some level, you feel like it has value because they're helping you achieve a goal that you want to achieve. Now that might mean people leave out your life, but spirit loves a vacuum. And in that vacuum, people are going to come into your experience who do appreciate you and what you have to offer right now. That's how you get the people in your life that love you and appreciate you. You be so yourself that anybody that can't handle you being yourself will be repelled away from you, and then you'll be left with the ones who can love you for who you are. That's how you have people around you that appreciate you. You don't compromise. You never compromise who you are for anybody. Ever. He said, the Course in Miracles says, it's just going to make you mad. You're just going to resent them because you're denying yourself something you know you want with them. And I'm like going, talk to me, Jesus. Talk to me, brother. Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. So I would ask you right now, he says, love can never be that you called upon love or God and remain unanswered. God's call to you is your call to God, and in God, you are answered by God's peace. So what do I want to end this on? I want to end this on the easy way and the hard way, okay? The easy way is getting rid of all the blocks that keep you from having a relationship with your source and your higher power. The easy way is getting rid of the blocks that keep you from listening to the truth. The easy way is allowing spirit to take over in your spirit. Then people go, Earl, how do you do that? How do I surrender to the Holy Spirit? How do I surrender to the higher power? And the Course tells you, it says, do what I say. If I say to you to remind yourself that that person in front of you is innocent, that that person may make mistakes, but who they really are is only light. If I tell you that that person really has no darkness really in them, who they really are, and that they are really whole, then say to yourself, that's what I want to call out of Jason. I like to use specific situations because if you apply the Course in Miracles in a general way, you won't be impacted by it. If you go, I want to love everybody, it's a lot different from me saying, I want to love Jason. So the minute you make it more specific, then you'll be focused in more. Then it becomes, all right, I want to have love for Jason. So what I'm going to do is remember that Spirit told me that Jason really is light. Jason really is love. Okay, I don't see that, right? If I'm upset with you, I don't see that. So what is it I need to do? I need to call on love to come through in my relationship with Jason. I have to call on God. I have to go, I want to see Jason differently. Then Spirit says, well, okay, I'm going to tell you how to see Jason differently, Earl. How do you do that? I'm going to first say what I want to experience with Jason and stop saying what I don't want to experience with Jason. He says, whenever you say what you don't want, that is not a positive goal. Whenever you say what you don't like, that's not a positive goal. Whenever you say I don't want something, he says, that's not a positive goal. That is not the same as asking for what you want. So what do I want with my brother? I want to have peace with my brother. I'm not going to say I don't want to be mad at Jason. I'm going to say I want to have peace with Jason. I'm not going to say I don't want to be mad at my mama. I'm going to say I want to have peace with my mama. You stop talking in terms of what you don't want, because the Course says every time you say what you don't want, you project it into the world. Just like if you don't want garbage, what do? You throw it away. So as soon as you say focus on what you don't want, he says you're projecting it, and since you're projecting it, you're going to see it. If I throw this over on that table, I see it. So that's why people's lives are full of things they don't want. It's because that's what they focus on, is what they don't want. I get so sick of people saying, I don't like the way we treat each other, and I don't like what's happening with the Republicans, and I don't like what's happening with them, and I don't like what's happening with the police, and I don't like what's happening with the different racial situations. I don't like what's happening. And I go, well, what do you want? What do you want? Tell me what you want. And then once I know what you want, then I know what we can create together. But if I'm with someone and they don't want peace, and I do want peace, then the Course says we're both weakening each other. That every time you argue with the person about what they believe, he says you try to convince somebody that they're wrong, you're weakening your belief in what you say you believe in, and you're weakening their belief in what they believe in. So watch getting into conversations with people where you all are trying to convince each other who's the one that's right and who's the one that's wrong, because both of you walk away with a weakened belief in what y'all say y'all believe in. So sometimes when people come up to me and they'll say, I heard you say something, and I just want to kind of get that straight with you, and we can talk about that. I said, look, I tell you what, I don't mind having a conversation with you, but what did I say that you agreed with? Was there anything that came out of my mouth that you want to talk to me about how much you disagree with what I said? Because that's what the ego does. Some of you may find yourself doing it right now, that a part of you is focusing more on what you disagree or what you didn't go along with what I said than going, oh, he said that I was innocent, that I was light, that I could never call on love without love happening. He said that I deserve to have peace and I deserve to have people in my life that I'm really, you know what I'm saying? What did I say that you can agree with? Because he says, when two minds agree on something equally, it becomes the will of God. He said it becomes the will of power. That's how you get things to manifest, is you two people coming together with an agreement on what they like to see manifest in their perception. So if you really want to manifest something quickly, you join with someone that shares that same idea, because together you're going to concentrate on what helps you meet it, and you're going to help each other overlook what would block you. So when you get in a relationship, your relationship is either going to save you time or it's going to slow you way, way, way down. Because every time you get ready to move in a direction that works for you, that you feel is right for you, and you're with the wrong person, they're going to oppose what you're trying to do. And you're going to feel like you got to drag them along with you to try to get to do what you want them to do. That is not a holy relationship. That's an unholy relationship. That's a relationship that is slowing you down. If I want to go to California and you don't want to go and I got to convince you to go, that's slowing my trip down. If I say I want to go to California and you say you want to go too, and you say, and I'll also share in the driving, that's going to make my trip easier. So join with the people who share your goal and overlook the people that don't. Don't attack them. You just want to look for the ones that want the same thing you want. And you want it to be love and you want it to be peace, because the Course has taught us when you want to slow yourself down, you'll get in a special relationship of some sort that y'all are constantly opposing each other in some way. Or the main way that a person is slowing you down would be the person that's trying to make you feel guilty. If you want to just reduce it to one sentence, the person that's trying, the Course says the person that's trying to make you feel guilty, and if you're trying to make it, that's your enemy. And the person that's trying to help you remember your innocence and get rid of the blocks to recognizing that, that's your friend. So who in your life right now are always trying to put guilt trips on you and judge you and condemn you and say what's wrong with you, that is not a valuable person in your life from a spiritual perspective. Now, could Spirit teach you how to use them as a way for you to learn? Sure, because Spirit can help you in any situation that you're in. But why are you in the situation? Why would you want to be with someone that's attacking you, hurting you, not supporting you, not letting you? I'm just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about any relationship. That's what the kind of questions this book asks. Well, why would you want to be with somebody that was not helping you remember the truth of who you really are? So these are things that are food for thought, mighty companion. When you listen back to this, it's not how far we go, it's not how much we cover. It's about, what is he telling me to do? What is the Course telling me to do in order for me to have more peace in my own personal life and in the relationships that I'm having right now? And so I'm going to say it again. Your task this week is to ask yourself about everything you do, is this inspiring me? Is this person inspiring me? Is this relationship inspiring me? And if not, what would? Who is it that does inspire me? What if it's not the Course that inspires you and you think it's like going to the dentist to pick the book up and study it, then what book would inspire you? What spiritual path would inspire you? Because your true spiritual path would be something that moves you and inspires you. I look like a person who's bored about what I'm talking about after 43 years. No, because it's my path that inspires me. If it doesn't inspire you, it's probably not the path for you right now. It just means the truth could come to you in another way, the same truth, but it would be something that inspired you, so you would practice it and you would do it. Be with people that inspire you. Be with people that when you walk away, you feel like you've learned some kind of way, you've grown some kind of way. Don't be around the ones that's only complaining about what's wrong. But you want to be around the ones who are complaining about what's wrong, because the Course says it's okay to review what you're upset about. He says, but make sure that you're with someone that when you get through talking about what's wrong, you all will focus on some solutions or love or peace, or bring it to something that's love. Don't just hang out with people and all they do is talk about what's wrong with the world, what's wrong with the world, what's wrong with the world. You want to hang out with people that will say what's wrong with the world, what's wrong with the world, what's wrong with the world, because you don't want to the Course is saying, the lesson is called Lesson 78, that miracles replace all grievances. Let miracles replace all grievances. In that lesson, he says, review the flaws and the faults of the person that you're upset with. Think about everything you think they've done to hurt you in any kind of way. Think about the stuff that you're mad about. He says that right in the friggin' book. And then he goes, after you get through doing that, then I want you to say this prayer. Let me behold my Savior in this one you have appointed as the one for me to ask, to lead me into the holy light in which he stands. Don't forget to do part 2. Take it to some truth. Now, but he says, do part 1. Do the criticism. Talk about the neglect that you think, the thing that you made. The Course is saying, I'm not telling you to smile and go, I love everybody. No, you can say, I wanted to run over them with my car. Okay? I can't stand that joker. When they walk in the room, I want to go in. I'm not going to be pseudo-spiritual. I don't like them. Okay, he says, well, say what you don't like about them. Say what upsets you about them. Even talk like a victim. Say, this person caused me some pain, because that's the way it was written in the book. Think about the pain they caused you. So he says it right there. It's okay for you to talk the way you talk. You can still pretend that what happened in your childhood is keeping you from being happy right now. That's fine. But in the end, when you get through talking about this person that you're upset about, which I'm telling you to do, I'm telling you to do that. He says, after you get through doing that, ask to see your Savior in that person. Ask to see your healer in that person. Ask to see the truth of that person. And I've been using Jason as an example because I know that Jason and I can do that, because he knows that I'm not mad at him about anything. But the point that I'm making is, by saying Jason, it made it more real, didn't it? When I would say me and Jason are doing blah, 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 that sounds less abstract than when I would just say, come up with a goal, concentrate on what helps you meet the goal, overlook what doesn't. Okay, that sounds, but if I said, set up a goal with you and Jason, and then when you're around Jason, think of what you need to overlook about what he's done, and focus on what he has done that is moving you toward that. See, that makes it concrete. So the Course says to us, say, if you want to apply this, it has to be specific. It says application is specific. Stop talking in generalities. Stop saying I love everybody and I want to love everybody. No, I want to love my cousin Bo, who I haven't spoke to for 10 years because I got a grievance. He says, if you make it specific, then you will be able to eventually apply it to everyone in your life. But it goes from specific to generalities, not generalities to specific. Yeah, he says you want to go specific to generalities. And I'm not making this up. This is not Earl Purdy's truth. This is in the Heal Relationship, chapter 17, in the Course in Miracles. That's another thing. I'm not telling you Earl Purdy's opinion. I don't want you to hear my opinion. I don't want to hear your opinion. I want us to give us some answers to get us out of this insane perception that we have of all this separation and hate and fear that we see in the world right now. I want to join with the people who've had enough and want to join on the truth and love and oneness. And so the Course says, well, ask for it. And that's why you see me doing that today. I'm asking for it. He says, that's what you do. And then what happens every time I do that is somebody will email me or write me and go, man, this is exactly what I've been wanting. This is what I need to do. Let's do this. Let's go for this. Because then that makes it easier for me, because now I'm teaching somebody and sharing with somebody who want to do it with me. And so we Zoom together. Where when I was in my wrong mind, I would be trying to convince that person why they should want to use me as a teacher, or be my friend, or be anything. It's like, no, I know you're not the one, because you have no enthusiasm about me. I have no enthusiasm about you. You don't seem happy to see me. I don't seem happy to see you. We don't look like we have peace around each other. That's all I have to know. We don't have to get into a dialogue or a conversation. What you are is telling me where you're at, how you're expressing yourself around me, and I'm expressing myself around you. It's letting me know how we feel about each other. I don't need to know the reasons you don't like me. You're automatically showing that I don't bring joy, or you don't give me a joyful perception when you're around me. So why would I seek you out? Only if I wanted to feel bad. That's why I would seek you out. And so you have to do that in every part of your life. That's why the assignment this week is what inspires me, who inspires me, what, and then make a list. Like, who is it, when I think about them, a smile comes on my face. You know, what type of movies do I like to watch, and the very thought of it turns. What is inspiring me? Earl, did you hear what I'm telling you? Earl Purdy, did you hear what your assignment is for this week? Right? You got it now? Make a list of who inspires you in your perception, what inspires you in your perception, who shares your purpose, who loves the cause, who really would want to really focus on that with you and it excites you as much as it excites them. Who do you know that wants to practice it and not just debate it and theorize about it and analyze it? Who is it that they show you that they appreciate you and you appreciate them? Who is it that you are seeing the light in and they're seeing your light? Or who is it that wants to see your light and you want to see their light, and you know there's something blocking that, but both of you want to go past that barrier together? And like the plague, run away from the person that's telling you you need to change in order for them to like you. Okay? Who is it that's telling me what I need to do different and what they're upset about me about? Then I know that's the person that don't know the truth, because the person that knows the truth would know they needed to change their own perception. So it's just that simple after you've done the course for a while. Well, I know I'm wrong-minded right now because I'm saying Jason needs to be different in order for me to be happy. But the truth is, if that's not true, and I'm not going to try to change him in order to be happy, then I need to make two decisions. If the way he is too much for me to handle, then I am still not going to try to change Jason. I'll just choose out of Jason's experience, because I need to work on my own perception. So I still need to change Jason. Why don't I want to change Jason? Because I don't want my happiness to be dependent on what Jason does. I do not want my happiness to be based on how Jason acts and how Jason behaves. I do not want my happiness to be based on something I have no control over, because I'm a control freak and I cannot stand being in situations that I have no control over, and I don't have any control over any of you. But you know what I do have control over? How I see you, how I think. And the Course tells me how to think to free myself. So listen, I said it again. Your spiritual path tells you what to think to free yourself. Be around people who are going to help you remember instead of being around people who help you forget. And who are the people that help you forget? Those that condemn you, judge you, criticize you, and have grievances towards you that they don't want to let go of. Everybody clear? Yes. Everybody clear? Yes. Everybody clear? Okay, mighty companion. So, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation or donation, I'm a full-time teacher. If you would like to do that, and I would ask you to do that, then you can just go to my website, earlpurdy.com. You can also use Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, or the Cash App. And all you need is my email address, which is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. 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 I'm also available for one-on-one counseling, coaching situations, and because there are no original problems. 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 Whatever your situation is, whatever the thing that's making you unhappy, whatever it is you need to see differently, you will not be the first one that's brought that up, because the Course says we only have the same problem. So I don't care what you think your problem is, you're not going to be bringing anything to me that's new. And you're not going to be bringing anything to me that there isn't a solution that you can be given to. That's not the problem. The problem is, will you do it? And you will if you've suffered enough or you make a conscious decision. You will. You will. Your stuff isn't, but the Course says you want to think your problem is different because you want to think you are special. And so your stuff is your stuff is worse than anybody else's, you know. And so I have to remember that there is no problem that can come up in my life that there's not already an answer in the Course in Miracles for how to deal with that, or any true spiritual path. Any true spiritual path. So what am I doing? I'm calling for those who are just like me, who have reached their limit, that want to take it all to another level of peace and get rid of grievances and lack and fear once and for all. And they're willing to take some level of responsibility for what they're experiencing right now. If you're that kind of person, then we can do incredible work together. You don't have to be perfect, no more than me. You don't have to have everything together. All you have to have is a little willingness to say, all I know is not everything there is to know. He said, that's when you begin. When you go, I don't know everything. He said, that's who you want, the person that goes, I don't know everything. So do y'all know everything? No. Okay, so you're ready at that level, right? So Mighty Companions, Sundays at 1 o'clock, Mountain Time, on Facebook Live, the Earl Purdy page. We do Facebook Live Course in Miracles. If you're in Denver, in the Denver area, you can drop in 1555 Race Street, 1555 Race Street. Sundays, 1 p.m., Mountain Time, Earl Purdy page. All my classes uploaded to YouTube. Sometimes people are, I'm not on Facebook. Well, YouTube is available, and anybody can go on YouTube, and anybody can watch the videos. So I want to invite you to do that. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do hardcore Course in Miracles. That's especially for Course in Miracles students. And everybody's welcome to watch. And it's especially for Course in Miracles students. And everybody's willing to watch. Why? Because I've spent 40 years of my life devoted to this teaching, learning it, experiencing it, and I know Spirit can use me to save you some time, especially if you're newer, and especially if you've been doing it a long time. Because when you've been doing it a long time, I can communicate to you at a level I could never communicate the Course to a person that's just starting. So even those of you who think you've been doing it a long time and you want to go deeper, then you'd be surprised what we could do together. Because I can say things to you I can't say to people who are just starting out. Because it's too loving. And then what? Yeah, you can say stuff that's so loving that people can't hear it. So, and that's when he says, that's why sometimes you be wondering, Purdy, if you say something you think, well, person should be jumping up and down if I say, you know, they deserve to be peace and have peace and never suffer. He says, well, that's more love than they can receive right now. They need you to tell them some ways that there's less love than that. It's going to call for more effort, more, in some cases, even some type of punishment they think they need to have. They actually think you're not a good person if you don't say they need to be punished for what they just got through doing. They don't realize that just feeling guilty is asking for punishment. That as soon as you feel guilty, you're requesting that the universe punish you. And then you're wondering why when you seem to do something bad, something happens bad. He says, not because the universe is punishing you, you are expecting the punishment, and you call it to yourself. And you won't feel good until you get the punishment. So if you're learning something that's telling you that you're innocent and you don't deserve to be punished, then that's going to be hard for you to take, because you've been programmed to believe if you've done something bad, you need to be punished for it instead of corrected. So he said that's why it's hard for people to accept that God doesn't punish anybody. God corrects and heals. Because we grew up in a system that if you do something wrong, you punish the person, even though punishment does never correct anything. People come out of prison worse than they went into prison. They come out with more anger, usually, because their minds haven't been changed. Nobody's worked with their minds. And so we are trying to get to the point that we let Spirit take care of things for us. I want to get rid of everything that keeps me from letting myself be helped by the Creator God, the universe. The Course says, ask for the blocks to be removed. Ask for the blocks to be removed. And ask for relationships that help you let the blocks be removed. And that's what I have with you all. And that's why I'm so appreciative of you whenever you show up. Because I know whenever you show up, it's because God sent you. And whenever you don't show up, I know it's best for you not to show up. He says, nobody's absent in your life that you need. That there's not a person in your life that's not there that you need. I'll say it again. There's not a person in your life that is not there that you need. So you only need the people in your life. Who's in your life? Here's the other part of the time. Who's in your life right now? Who is reaching out to you right now? Who's extending the hand of friendship to you right now? Who is showing up to spend time with you right now? Who is giving you, go look at the whole week, this week, and see who contacted you. Who are you having some type of dialogue and regular, who's in your life right now? That's in other words. Do an assessment, because those are the people that you need. Those are the people that's really valuable right now. Not the old girlfriend that you used to have 5 years ago. Not the friend that you had 3 weeks ago. Not anybody from your past. Who is there now? Who's reaching out to you now? Who feels inspired by you now? Those are the people that your greatest gifts can come through you right now. Wow, that's deep. So Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. So that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm asking. Notice I asked for what I wanted. I was asking for it, right? I didn't say what I don't want. I said what I do want. So what do I need to do? Concentrate on what helps me achieve that. Overlook what keeps me from doing that. All right. Mighty companions, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being patient. Went over a little. It's funny. I never get tired of hearing the crap that the world says. I can hear that 24 hours a day, but then I feel like I got to rush. I make myself think I got to rush through sharing with people that they're light and that they're love and that they're desired to be loved. Thank you for being patient enough to hear that you deserve to have total happiness for 15 minutes over. That's incredible. Thank you so much. It's so funny. It is all my mind. That's a truth. And so you are blessings in my life, because you all gave me a chance to say what I needed to remember today. And I hope I said something that makes you want to be a little bit more inspired. Mighty companions, may the course be with you. Please share the video, and remember, 4 times. You want to listen to it or watch it at least 4 times this week. Repetition, remember. Repetition, remember. Don't analyze this. I repeat, if you spend your time focusing on what you don't agree about what I said, then you're overlooking the goal of me focusing in on how can I use this class to join today. Because if there's anything that I said from the course that you agreed with, focus on it, because then you and I are sharing one idea equally, and it will give a ton more power to what you're trying to do. Focus on what did I say that moved you, if anything, inspired you, or something that you want to remember. Do not, if at all possible, focus on everything that the course said or that I said that you don't like, that you don't agree with. Okay? That's how you manifest. Join, don't separate. Join, don't separate. Join. But you can always find people that disagree with you, because there's as many different ways of looking at things as there are people in the world. So I couldn't sit in front of this class if I thought everybody had to agree with me. But what I do want is to find who does agree with something and they want to join with me on the idea of love and peace. And we know we got some blocks. Let's get rid of them together. That's the person I want to join with. That's who I'm asking for. So be it. Appreciate y'all. Okay, can we acknowledge us?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Can we give it to us? Yeah. You are a blessing in my life. Lord have mercy. Oh, thank you. It's 2:20. It's like, oh my God, I gave y'all 20 minutes of extra love. I went over.